Welcome back to Severe MMA. My name is Ian O'Neill, and today I'm joined by the man himself, Jimbo Slice, James Sheehan of Team Ryano, getting ready for his fight with Martin Causse at Cage Warriors 140 in Belfast, just under a week away now, James. You
Yeah,
must be
yeah,
looking forward to it now, man.
yeah. I'm just laughing that the Jimbo Slice thing is actually stuck,
It's
and like
brilliant.
a few people have said it to me now, and I'm just like, man, Redzar is a bollocks. Like you
That's
know how
he
that
gave
came
he,
about.
he gave it to you. How did it come about?
So Redzar would be pretty close to Joe Martinez, the announcer for Cage Warriors, and backstage, Joe was with us and he was chatting away to us. And Redzar must have pulled him to the side at some point when I was warming up and just said, "Here, look, just call him Jimbo Slice." Like he forgot to say it to the lads, but everyone calls him Jimbo Slice in the gym. Never been said to me before. And when obviously walking out in the cage and everything, and then he's announced my name, and obviously you're in the zone as well. And he just goes, "James, Jimbo Slice, Sheehan." I was just like, "Wait, what? What did he just say?"
It was news to you as well as everybody else at the time, was it?
Yeah, and then like backstage, like the post fight interviews and everything, people were saying that. I was like, "Look, I had nothing to do with this. I had nothing to do with this, but look, it's stuck."
That's it. It's it. The Jimbo Slice era has officially begun, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was class. I mean, James, coming into this fight, I'm just kind of wondering what your mentality is. I think, would it be fair to say you've had through injuries, through the pandemic, you've had a pretty slow start to your professional career. Is it kind of feel you're getting into a flow, getting a couple of fights in a row, and how does that feel to be kind of fighting back to back now, as in maybe once a year, which was no fault of
It,
your own, obviously.
it's actually crazy. I was only thinking this like during this camp that I was like the benefits of like not having that long layoff, like in terms of like progression, like my skills are getting better because I haven't got these like long layoffs where I'm like making progress and then taking months off because of an injury or whatever, and then coming back. Like even something as simple when you haven't fought in a while, like you second guess the preparation, you second guess the weight cut even, like, oh, should I be this heavy this far out and stuff. And the fact that I'm literally just coming off two fights there, like so recently, like it's just a weight off the shoulder, and it just makes it so much easier and like makes it so much more enjoyable because like you can just focus on the actual training then,
Yeah.
and you haven't got all these extra stresses. And in terms of progression, I just feel I'm finally progressing as well as a fighter at a good rate as well. So like everything's just coming in, like you said, everything's just flowing nicely at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. Like, I mean, through the period where it was pretty stop start for you, and you had injuries. I know, geez, you had the injury after the Ian Gary fight. You had an ankle injury. I know you picked up COVID as well, and
Yeah,
you're kind of battling through all of those. Like, obviously, that's frustrating. You're getting prepared. You're training to fight. You can't fight. But is there any
yeah.
positives that you took through that time? Like maybe battling through a couple of those injuries, coming back, getting wins. It must do great things for your mentality.
Yeah, even during that time off, you think all you want to do is get back training. But looking back now, like I've said this before, I feel like that time off really gave me a better perspective in terms of training. That like I know it's not freak accidents, but like I was very unlucky to get injured, but I wasn't helping it the way I was training. So I wasn't recovering and I wasn't taking the nutrition side of it as professionally as I should be. Like it's in this game, it's the whole package. You can't just show up and train hard. You need to recover hard. You need to stay on top of your nutrition, and you need to not only like train hard, but also get better. Like all those little sessions that like the little technical sessions are huge, are huge. And I think that time off kind of gave me that kind of realization that look, I need to change something. and it's worked out for the better. I am progressing as a fighter. I'm injury free, and I'm staying active, and I'm reaping the benefits of that. So
Yeah, it's definitely clear to see, James, for me, for sure. I mean, and you're getting prepared, I think, in my opinion, in Team Ryano, which is one of obviously the top gyms in the country and has been for a long time. But in that gym right now, there must be a real buzz and a real atmosphere, because the level of talent and the fighters that are coming out there are really exceptional right now. Like, what is it like for you getting prepared in that environment? And Andy and Neil and Reds, or everyone is there doing all some great work in the background as well. Like, it must be a real benefit for you to get in that work. I know, like, Miles Price has been up there doing some work with you ahead of after his
yeah.
fight with Jeremy Stevens. Like, to be in with that level of talent, getting that work in, obviously helps your development as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's you're dead right. There's a great buzz in the gym at the moment. I just feel like everyone is kind of on the same path. That like everyone wants to compete and do like perform, and the coaching staff there are absolutely phenomenal. Like just to have like even like before Miles' fight there, like all of us, like me, Graham, Darby, Paddy Wilkinson, Miles, all sparring together, like picking each other's brains, and then you also have Neil, Andy, and Reds are like watching us and giving us little pointers. Like it goes to show, because all of us have progressed so much, and like even Miles there, like even when he's lost that fight, like he still performed very well. Like I haven't actually watched the fight yet, but
Yeah,
from what I'm hearing,
I got to see it actually, and I would even label it, one of the performances of his career. And I personally, I thought he was very unlucky not to get the decision. Very
yeah,
close fight, but a really tremendous performance, and I was happy to see him perform that way and up to his ability. But it must be great having someone like him and some of the other guys there to kind of get you ready for your fight too. And I know Adam
absolutely.
Darby obviously is competing on the card. I know. I think Paddy's fight fell out, didn't it, with Troy Gibson?
Yeah,
So that was
yeah.
unfortunate too.
Troy got injured. Yeah,
Yeah, but it must be great to have like everyone kind of aiming towards fight camp and doing, like, they all have the same date, you all have the same goal, and you're getting ready at the same time.
yeah, absolutely. Like even the thing of like everyone's like cutting weight nearly together. Like Miles was a week before us, but like having Derby this week, that like you can kind of confine in each other as well. That like even small things like yeah, like no carbs from Monday and everything, like yeah, like you can kind of feel each other's pain. Like you're on the same journey together, and like we'll obviously be going up to me and Derby, and obviously Paddy would have been going up, but we'll be going up together. And like I haven't fought on the same card as one of my teammates in a good while, so I'm actually really looking forward to it as well. And like that, get that little buzz backstage, and like I have no doubt that Adam Darby will win. So like I'm really excited, not only for me to perform, but for Darby to perform as well, because like it is a great team in Team Rhino, and like you really want everyone to do well, and like because you're turning up every day for each other and helping each other out, and it's great. It's great. I'm really excited for this one.
Lovely, yeah, that's great to hear. You were on with us with Andy, I think, ahead of the O'Meal Brown fight, I believe. Um,
Yeah.
and you were saying ahead of that fight, you had a fantastic camp. You're feeling great. You went in there. You got the split decision against O'Meal. Was there any takeaways from that fight? I'd like to maybe just speak about that fight. We can talk then about your last fight, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk a little bit ahead. I mean, any takeaways? Like, O'Meal Bryan, a tough opponent. It was a tough fight, but you definitely deserved the win there. Were you happy with that overall performance against O'Meal?
I wasn't happy with it. I still wouldn't be majorly happy with it. Like I know O'Meal is a tough guy, and we kind of expected him to come out guns blazing in the first round. He's a fast starter, and I was notoriously a slow starter, which is one thing that like I was working on, and that paid off in the last fight. It's like all the things that I was
Yeah,
working on showed. But I suppose I would have preferred to push a bit more in the second round because I felt I was taking over then. And once I took over, I was I kind of coasted a small bit, but I should have really pushed on and looked for the finish then because I felt the finish was there in the second round. Like I was in mount, landing heavy shots and I took my time. Like then in the third round, same thing. Like I not coasted, but like I should have actively pushed for the finish, right? So I nearly allowed him to get back into the fight a bit more, so should have put the foot on the pedal a small bit more because I definitely feel he was there to be taken in the second round.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that problem was not there against Carl Miklak. I mean, you started well, you went on the front foot, and you were very boisterous in your attack. You wanted to, looking back at the fight, and it was a fantastic finish, the left hook and the uppercut finish. I mean, I'm glad that you kind of said that because it was something that I was going to ask you, was that what changes it was, because looking at that Miklak fight, it's like you had a chip on your shoulder where it was like, no, I'm going to be the force here. I'm going to dictate this fight.
Yeah, it was a bit of a chip on my shoulder because I like the lads in the gym had always said to me like I sparred so much different than I fought. Like I never had the confidence in my hands in fights that I'd never really commit to heavy shots or like plant my feet and kind of throw. And like you could see that in the O'Meal Brown fight that I was landing shots, but then I was more concerned about getting the takedown and getting it down. And I felt like the one thing that like I do know I have power in my hands and like my boxing is very good. So that's the one thing that I really wanted to show on the April card as well. That like I am a threat on the feet and I just haven't showed that. So it was good to show that side of my game that like the only people would know that are the guys I train with. So it was good to show everyone else that like, look, don't sleep on me. Like,
Yeah, definitely. You definitely showed that in that fight. It was brilliant. I mean, I see you on the pads with Neil Seary there, and that work was on show against Miklak. It was a beautiful combination. You showed really good confidence in your boxing. I mean, working with someone like Neil on the pads, obviously with the UFC experience, a legend of Irish MMA too, it must help you out quite a bit too.
oh yeah, it's fantastic, and it's simple things. It's very simple things that make a huge difference, and those simple things like that's what gives you the confidence. And like backstage, just small little things like remember this during the fight, remember this and that. And I expect to go in and like it's not like I'm going into this fight just worrying about my hands. Like I'm a mixed martial artist. I have many weapons. But that's one thing that I just found was lacking that never got to show. And now I know that like that's there in my arsenal now. So like
Do you ever foresee, like, I mean, you talked about the hurdle you had to get from turning your training performances into fight performances, and you do hear that from time and time again with other
yeah.
fighters. I mean, is that something you feel that you've kind of got over now, James? That kind of hurdle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the time, the difference is like lads perform in the gym because there's no pressure, and it's not even that I found I felt a lot of pressure in fights, like crowds and getting hit or anything doesn't bother me at all. Like I couldn't care who's there to watch me or not to watch me or what arena it is. I think it was just my preparation was wrong, so it had me feeling shit. Like I was doing weight cuts wrong. I was training wrong. Like I said, changed the way I approached my training, and I kind of just wasn't peaking when I got to the fight. So I had a lack of confidence in my hands. My training, I wasn't peaking in my camp, and then I wasn't doing my weight cut right. So it was a number of things that just gave me a lack of confidence. So going into that O'Meal Brown, that like I couldn't get over how good I felt going into fight week, I was just like, geez, look, man, this thing feels a bit too easy. And then when it came to the fight, fair enough, difficult opponent. I didn't get to show my hands in that fight. But then I was like, okay, look, if I just prepare the exact same way for April 1st, and go out there and actually say to myself, look, the one thing I want to do in this fight, I just, I remember saying to myself backstage, I was like, look, I don't care, win, lose, whatever. I just want to go out here and perform the way I know I can. And that's what I did. And it worked. It worked out. I performed the way I know I can. And that's basically what I'm going to do from now on. I'm just going to perform the way I know I can. And yeah, that's it. I feel like it was a few things that really led to like a lack of confidence to kind of perform on fight night.
Yeah, I get you. Well, you did perform, like I said, against Miklak, and I have to say you were robbed of not getting that crypto award, James. I
Yeah,
thought you,
I
I thought you
know.
were a shoe in for that.
Man, I'm telling you now, right? Thank God, right, that Redzer was there to back me up because we were back in the Fighters Hotel after the night, and I think it was Dan Hardy and someone else. I can't remember who got the bonus, but Redzer was yelling them down, screaming, going like, this is rigged," and everything. And they found it funny, but I'm pretty sure the next night a dude got like a spinning wheel kick or something,
Oh
and
yeah,
didn't get it as well.
who
So I
was
was
that?
like,
Was it Manny Akpan who got that spin?
yeah,
Yeah, he didn't get it either.
So I can be pissed off, but like if I got a spinning wheel kick knockout in my fight and I didn't get it, I'd be like, man, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, fucking for sure, man. Jeez, yeah. I don't know. Well, hopefully there's another one up in Belfast that you can take home with you. And I mean, it's the first time that you're getting the chance to fight in Ireland, James, for a little while. You must be really buzzing to not have to travel, just take the drive up to Belfast, kind of soak it in. I'm sure that there's going to be some support coming up to Belfast
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, 100%. It nearly feels weird. Like it reminds me of like the amateur days that like the drive up to Belfast to fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Like it's so much less hassle like having to get the flight and like pack everything. Like it's literally right up the road, like an hour and a half up the road, and like that with crowds as well. So much easier to get people to actually go. You don't have to convince them to get a flight and a hotel and this and that. Like it. I'm delighted that all my friends and family are going up to support me, and it feels good to fight in Ireland again.
Do you know, you said that like the crowds and getting hit, that doesn't affect you at all. But do you
Yeah.
think, getting the chance to compete in front of your family live and your friends and your supporters, that'll surely bring an extra little bit of motivation and a little bit of buzz. Not saying that it will affect you in any way, but you definitely will get something from that for sure.
Um, I don't know. I never really like a few like my girlfriend always said this to has said this to me a few times. She's like, oh, now that everyone's going up, like don't let it affect you and everything. But I honestly I don't know if I'm just being naive or like maybe I'll feel different on fight night, but like I fought in front of many of my friends and family before, and then the last whatever 3 or 4 fights I haven't, and I honestly felt no difference. Like I'm not thinking about them when I'm warming up. I'm not thinking about anything other than my opponent and that cage. So like anyone can be there. Like I'll be glad that they're there after the fight, fair enough. But like in terms of like motivation or nerves or anything, I really don't think any of that affects me.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I can understand that. You're
Yeah.
just focused on the task at hand. I mean, I guess it's a good way. You don't let it affect you in a positive or in a negative way. You just remain neutral at it, and I guess that's important when you're in there
Yeah.
and you're fighting. I mean, you said you're thinking about your opponent. Your opponent is Martin Causse. Um, what are
Mm.
your thoughts on him as an opponent, James, and how you match up on it with him?
I think he's a good guy. I think French MMA is always high level. He has what's it, 3 wins, one no contest. So he's essentially unbeaten. A lot of first round finishes as well. I've had a good look at a tape of him. and I have with my coach as well. We see a lot of openings there. Even though he has like first round finishes, I think like a lot of them were sloppy enough. I'm not really that impressed. Of course, he's a pro MMA fighter. He's from a good gym. It's a fight. It's going to be difficult, but I just think I'm a different level to this guy.
Yeah, when you're preparing for an opponent, James, how much do you like to focus on the opponent and what they do, or do you more prepare yourself for what you can do in there, as such, if you know what I mean?
I think you take a few notes of something they might do well or not do well, but ultimately I don't really let it control control what I do in the fight. Like even like if you take into account like O'Neal Brown, he had like I think it was two first round guillotine finishes. Like fair enough, anytime when I was training in camp for that, Andy would make sure to get the lads to like throw guillotines on me anytime I went for a takedown. But I never didn't consider going for the takedown. I'm confident in my defense and in my attacks that I wouldn't put myself into stupid situations. And that came true in the fight. Like he threw in one or two guillotines that weren't tied at all. And same for Mikulak. We actually kind of expected Mikulak to come forward a bit more. So same with Martin Causse. I expect him to do a few things, but ultimately, I know what I'm going to do, and implement my game. I'll have a few things in the back of my mind, but ultimately, like fights are so different. Like people change in every single fight, and like and adapt to your opponent. And he hasn't fought in like a year or so, so like you can change a lot in a year as well. So you don't want to get too caught up in people's past performances as well. That's what I feel anyway.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
All,
fair.
yeah, all I can do is go out and do my game plan and my fight and what I'm good at, and change within the fight as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at if you get the win, not to talk too far ahead of it. Obviously, you're concentrated at the task in hand, but a win would see you win your last four fights. Where do you see yourself in the welterweight division in Cage Warriors right now?
I definitely think I'm definitely in there. Like, there's a lot of guys, a lot of interesting matchups in the welterweight division. Like, you obviously have Reese and Burlington for the title, and then you have Bonner coming down. You have Figlak. You have a few Holland. So I don't know
Yeah,
if that's how you pronounce his name, but he's very good as well. Um, there's a lot of guys, so I'm excited to get this fight done, get another fight at the end of the year, and then I'm really thinking like 2023 fight a really good ranked guy to show the level that I'm at, and then that will certainly put me in title contention then.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, in my opinion, I would have liked to seen you get that ranked opponent for this fight, and hopefully you do get it the next fight. I thought that last performance was really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing you going in there. Obviously, Martin will provide his own problems, but I think it's fair for you to say that you should be in the title mix, and you'd be probably hoping for a title shot in 2023, all things going well.
Yeah, yeah. Ultimately, I'd see the end of 2023 as a real kind of like, all right, he's kind of getting close to a title shot now, like, or the title shot should be offered anyway. But I'm glad. I'm actually just enjoying being able to fight like regularly and getting good matchups and progressing, because that honestly is like I'm enjoying the whole mixed martial arts journey. And whenever like I'm not rushed to get like a title at the end of this year or anything. Like I know I would expect it to be next year, but I'm just gonna keep on fighting, keep on winning, keep on progressing, and what happens, happens.
Indeed, yeah, that's good way to have it. I mean, you just mentioned Reese. Maybe real quickly before, and I won't keep you for too much longer, James. I appreciate the time.
Yeah.
You mentioned Reese and Justin in the main event. How do you see that fight going?
I think Reese possibly gets a round 4 finish. I think Burlington is a great fighter. I just think Reese has a few more weapons than him. And like I went up to Next Gen and sparred Reese. Got some great rounds in with him. And the one thing that I took away from that is like his gas tank is very good, and he has a lot of weapons for MMA. So even like looking at Reese's last fight, he just put on a clinic, and just the longer the fight went on, the more his shots started to open up and he started to take over. So I don't think Burlington is an easy matchup at all, but I just think Reese takes over. The longer that fight goes on, Reese takes over and finishes him. I think fourth finish.
Yeah, that's a fair call in my opinion as well. And yourself, you know, Martin, you'll be on UFC Fight Pass. Cage Warriors 140, Martin Causse. What do anyone tuning in? What can they expect to see in your fight?
I'm gonna hope for a round 1 KO again. I'm hopefully I have the special Krusty Krab formula, right? Krabby Patty formula now that like I can just keep on getting round 1 knockouts. I can get used to them, but I can see myself getting a second round finish, possibly a TKO. Martin is a strong dude, comes on strong in the first, so I think I'll start to outclass him at the end of the first, and then second just take over.
Nice. Well, that fight will be available, like I said, on UFC Fight Pass on June 25th. It's going to be a great card. James, a couple of his teammates, Adam will be on it as well. Reese McKee headline, of course, along with some more Irish talent. James, like I said, any shout outs, any sponsors you want to? I do know that SevereMMA are going to be sponsoring you for this fight as well. So you're going to have SevereMMA on your shorts.
Absolutely. Big SevereMMA all over the shorts, on the t-shirt, everything. I just want to first of all, give a shout out to SevereMMA. Appreciate the support, lads. Then Him Barbershop, Holo Organics, TNS Embroidery, and Tatami as well. Tatami are sponsoring me for this fight, so big shout out to Tatami.
Nice one, James. Nice one. Hopefully you go in, you get the job done. Don't rob this man of the crypto bonus this time, guys. The Jimbo Slice era has begun. We're all in on it. All the best to you, James, at Cage Warriors 140. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thanks so much, Ian. Appreciate it.